Oh, this is going to get worse, y'all. Oh, yeah. But nobody want to listen to little old punch drum boxing, huh? I'm just a drunk with a mic. Nobody want to listen to me. As we all know, the judge ruled in favor of Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy Promotions in reference to the legal battles between Vergil Ortiz and Golden Boy Promotions, in which Vergil Ortiz wanted to premature break his contract. And I've said from the beginning, if you follow me on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, I did say that it just feels like some colluding happened, in which they was trying to figure out a way to see holes in the contract so they could come up with a breach of contract so Vergil Ortiz could go out there and sue and try to leave Golden Boy Promotions and blah, blah, blah. As we all know, I ain't going to go throughout the details, but we all know what happened. It didn't work. It did not work. And now, unfortunately, Vergil Ortiz, who has a great momentum, is rated as the number 154-pounder in one of the most stacked divisions in the sport of boxing, right? By Ring. Has a good stretch of wins, now in his prime, and not going to be put in his shelf. Now, look, it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get worse because I believe that while, Virgil tried to sue Golden Boy Promotions and Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya suing Vergil Ortiz's manager. Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy Promotions can now sue Matchroom Boxing Eddie Hearn for Tortious interference. So what this means? Well, class in session. I'm going to be the only boxing YouTuber that's going to explain to you boxing contracts. You ain't going to find it nowhere else. So in boxing contract, there's confidentiality agreement within those exclusive promotional deal between a promoter and a fighter. So let's read on. The parties agree that the terms of this contract shall remain confidential except to the extent necessary to comply with law. If disclosure must be made to conform with any valid governmental requirement or any subpoena, the disclosing party shall notify the other party at least 7 working days before disclosure is to be made and to make good faith efforts to cause the party to whom the information is disclosed to keep the information confidential. Provided, however, that the disclosure necessary to comply with the Muhammad Ali Act are pre-approved. Fighter acknowledged receipt of Muhammad Ali Act statements given to his manager prior to entry into this contract. Now, folks, to find a loophole in the promotional contract that Vergil Ortiz probably had with Golden Boy Promotions, right? Probably would have colluded. People have colluded. Watch his contract. His contract was already probably viewed by others in which it shouldn't never be viewed because it's confidential. So Vergil Ortiz probably, allegedly, was in a breach of contract because he probably showed this contract to possibly, allegedly, Matchroom Boxing Eddie Hearn or anybody else. The Zone, you don't know. The Zone personnel, we don't know, right? But it just, it's common sense in my opinion that probably, allegedly, this could have taken place. I don't know, but it could have been taking place, right? So how can Oscar De La Hoya sue Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing? Well, like I said, to tortious interference. What does this mean? I believe that there are several ways in which I believe that they could win this case, right? The interference promoter that the promoter knew, right? Which means that, of course, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing knew that Vergil Ortiz was under the promotional company and still under contract with Golden Boy Promotions. Right there, they probably violated Golden Boy Promotions, right? The interfering promoter intentionally induced, which means that the fighter to breach the contract by offering better terms, promising to handle any fallout, or encouraging the fighter to ignore the exclusive clauses. See, right there, I could see that if so, because that's what it looked like, right? Promising to handle any fallouts, offering better terms, as we all know that Rick did say that there was an offer of $16 to $20 million offered by Matchroom Boxing. Y'all already know that Oscar De La Hoya is suing Rick Vergil Ortiz manager, right? And also for damages. You know what I'm saying? Lost money, lost purses, lost, it could be a plethora of damages. So I think those are the several things in which he could win a lawsuit if, Matchroom Boxing violated all those things, right? I think that the best scenario was that Eddie Hearn and probably Oscar De La Hoya spoken before that, because we all knew that Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn was trying to make this deal. And let's say if Rick was approaching these opportunities for Vergil Ortiz, maybe Eddie Hearn would have probably told, hey, yo, Oscar De La Hoya, I'm just letting you know this is happening, blah, 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 whatever. Because I know at one point Eddie Hearn didn't want to speak to Vergil Ortiz's manager, and Oscar De La Hoya was trying to keep Rick away from them dealing. So I'm just saying, I'm not sure if Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy Promotions is going to sue Matchroom Boxing Eddie Hearn, but I believe that there is a case if the alleged violations took place. So all I'm saying is don't be surprised if the next move is Golden Boy Promotions suing Matchroom Boxing Eddie Hearn for tortious interference. I don't know if Eddie Hearn publicly stated what Rick stated on X in terms of the $16 to $20 million deal that they offer, Vergil Ortiz. I think in several interviews, Eddie Hearn did not really go into details within that type of matter. He just saying, they're going through litigations and things of that nature. Didn't want to, Eddie Hearn could easily be like, well, they did have the hearing, so there was an offer made. So this is going to be worse, y'all. And from the beginning, I said, damn, man, I want Vergil Ortiz to take control of his career, have a sit-down one-on-one with Oscar De La Hoya, because I surely don't think that Vergil Ortiz is really into the business like that. I'm just assuming. I think that probably he signed off on the ideas of what their team had, and he signed off. Almost like when... Y'all remember when Bill Haney, Devin Haney sued Ryan Garcia, Golden Boy Promotions or whatever for the $1 million that the New York State Athletic Commission awarded them. Bill Haney did say that it was his plan, but Devin Haney signed off on his plan. That it wasn't actually Devin Haney that told his dad, yo, let's sue Ryan Garcia. It was Bill Haney's idea, and Devin Haney signed off. So it was Devin Haney suing DHP, Devin Haney suing Oscar De La Hoya, and Ryan Garcia, and Golden Boy Promotions, right? This don't look good, man. It don't look good, and man, I wish, like I said in the beginning of the video, that all money ain't good money. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the greed and devilish act try to mess up a good thing, and I think that Golden Boy Promotions, Vergil Ortiz manager, I think they was working, they coexisted very, very well to put Vergil Ortiz in great position. Look, Vergil Ortiz don't even talk shit. He don't go out there trying to become a villain to sell. He's not a social media sensation. So everything that they all put in work, especially Golden Boy Promotions, since day one, signed them at the age of 18. And it's just unfortunate, this situation, I know there was an opportunity out there, that there was more money out there. And once a fighter understands, like, yo, well, I'm going to get $3 million to fight with Jerome Bruce Ennis. If I was going to get, when Turkey offered that, I was going to get way more. And now I know that there's $16 to $20 million on the table. And the fighter's going to look at that like, yo, that's probably once in a lifetime. Boxers have a short career. How can I break this contract and move forward with this $16-20 million deal and bank that? And of course, the manager of Vergil Ortiz is looking at that situation and be like, yo, I got to do what's good for my client to get that deal. I'm here for my client. I'm not here for Golden Boy Promotion, Oscar De La Hoya, but. It looks like they did it premature, and now they in the ditch. And the unfortunate part is that the one that's going to take the hit more is going to be Vergil Ortiz, because look, Oscar De La Hoya Go to Book Promotions is going to have a lot of fighters. He's still going to be making money. He's still going to be having events, right? Rick, the manager of Vergil Ortiz, got other fighters. He's still his career still move forward. He's still going to have his money. He's still going to be getting paid. Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearn, they're going to be doing their thing, and Vergil Ortiz is going to be on the shelf. So hopefully Vergil Ortiz have a one-on-one with Oscar De La Hoya and hash this thing out.